Hello, I'm Amelia, and today I would like to talk to you about NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month, as an opportunity for research. In taking Info 200 during fall 2015 semester at San Jose State, I studied NaNoWriMo as an information community, and in doing so, I had to find a lot of different research about NaNoWriMo. However, what I found was disappointing at best. There wasn't very many scholarly written articles about the subject, and really very little quantitative or qualitative research. It was a lot of personal reflection or kind of advertisements to check out, an event for NaNoWriMo at a local coffee shop or a library, which is disappointing because NaNoWriMo has a lot to offer the research community, the academic community. So I kind of want to take this time to talk about what I feel are some possible research topics, and kind of talk about what I found, what I was able to find. So let's start off with talking about what NaNoWriMo is. So in 1999, it was actually held in July the first year, but every year after that it was November. And it's a month-long challenge to write 50,000 words in 30 days. If that sounds crazy, it is. I've participated for 4 or 5 years now in various events, whether it's the main challenge, or what they call Camp Nano, which occurs in April and August. And it's really difficult to do. I've only actually done it twice. I've probably participated 6 or 7 times, and I've actually only ever reached 50,000 words twice. It's difficult to do. And in general, the writing that you do in that month, as you're trying to push yourself to write roughly 1,700 words a day, is not always the best quality. And I think that might be a big reason why the research community doesn't view NaNoWriMo as a very academic event. It's very easy to look at the writing completed in 30 days with no rest. By the end, you are exhausted. Your writing probably is of the poorest quality you've ever written because you're exhausted and you're tired. Your brain is tired. You've been pushing yourself. And so I think that the quality of writing is something that deters research. However, I think that that's a bad way to look at it. I don't think looking at the quality of the writing being done should be the main focus. I think it should be the fact that it's 50,000 words in 30 days, and that's going to change somebody's life. Even if they don't reach 50,000 words, attempting it is going to change their perspective on writing. It's going to hopefully develop within them a desire to write every day, whether it's 1,700 words or just 200 words. Just getting something out on paper. That's kind of NaNoWriMo's overarching, you've got a novel in you. And this event is supposed to help you start it. It's not supposed to be something where at the end of 30 days you have a novel that's ready to be sent to an editor and a publisher, and oh boom, the next month you are J.K. Rowling. That's not what it's supposed to be. It's just supposed to be kind of a kickstart to your creative writing, to your novel idea. Of course, editing is necessary, and sometimes the editing process takes another month to even get done. I don't think I've ever actually finished editing a novel that I've started. So it's a long process. But I think, like I said, that it's that process and the habits that are formed in that process that I think offer a lot of research opportunities in several different fields, not just library science. That's where I lean. But for education, I think there's a lot to be said for people who are in English departments and creative writing departments at different places. I think that this offers a very interesting study opportunity. So, as I was going through and studying NaNoWriMo, I found 3 very prominent places that NaNoWriMo comes up, and that's in education, so kind of K through 12, a little bit in university, not as much, but definitely K through 12. In the library, there were a few interesting articles. They weren't necessarily academic or research, but I do see, as the library science student, I do see the potential for an information science student to be able to study NaNoWriMo in the library. So that was the other one. So I have education within the library, and then lastly, and probably the bulk of the research that's out there, if I personally do not really consider it research, it's mostly personal reflection done by professors or done by researchers. Oh, NaNoWriMo, I did it, it was really hard, or it was great, it helped me this way. So it's personal. Maybe you could say it's qualitative, but it's one person talking about their personal feeling about it. So that one is a little bit iffy for me, but it's the bulk of the articles that you will find going to a database looking for NaNoWriMo. So what I want to do is I'm going to start by talking about NaNoWriMo in school. So in education, primarily K through 12. When I talk about in the library, I'll have an opportunity to talk more about academic libraries and universities, but for now I'm just going to focus on NaNoWriMo in schools. So within a K through 12 environment, NaNoWriMo is probably not something that a first grader is going to be able to succeed in. They probably don't have a vocabulary that's very large at that point. And writing 50,000 unique words, well, not necessarily unique, but 50,000 words to create a story might be a little bit difficult for them. However, as I said at the very beginning, it's not a matter of actually reaching 50,000 words. So for lower grades, it can just be a practice, a month-long creative writing, a month-long creative writing subject, study, whatever, a curriculum, for a month, a project. And there were actually a few studies where National Novel Writing Month was kind of talked about within a classroom environment for students, and it showed that students worked better together because oftentimes they were paired up to do it, which made it more feasible for them if they were going to try to reach 50,000 words or even anywhere close. So they were paired up and they were able to develop team building skills. They worked together, they participated, they had to collaborate together on what the story was going to be about, the direction of the writing, everything like that. I think that's an excellent place to start. Because writing 50,000 words by yourself is very hard, and having a partner, I think, teaches you a lot about working with others and working in an environment together where you might have different ideas that don't mesh very well, and how do you deal with that problem? And I think that's a really good skill. However, that article wasn't necessarily academic, and it wasn't scholarly. It was just kind of saying, my kids loved it, my kids in the classroom really enjoyed it, but this is a study that could be done by somebody who's interested in the topic, maybe education, maybe creative writing education. So that's definitely an option. I think another article talked about the use of Web 2.0 and how NaNoWriMo kind of opens that opportunity. And this might be more geared towards middle and high school age students, but the ability to form a community online and bounce ideas off of each other. The NaNoWriMo website, which is linked to the right on this page and every page in this website, will show, there's messaging boards, there's all sorts of different ways to meet people and talk to people about what you're writing. And it's very monitored. It's not, there are mature threads for people who are over 18, and there are threads for younger people where the content is kept appropriate for their age. And the moderators are really good about this. They are really on top of it. I've been in threads where somebody just, lets slip one curse word and it's like, oh, watch it, edit it, change it, or get rid of it. And so I think that that's a really good skill for students to develop, especially as Web 2.0 is becoming more and more important to our daily lives through social media and everything. Being able to talk about your projects, whether it's creative writing or really anything, and getting feedback from a source, really an anonymous source. You don't necessarily know who's commenting or suggesting things to you, and it's being able to edit what the suggestions are, is being able to look through and say that's helpful, that's not. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity in terms of Web 2.0 in NaNoWriMo, the research that could be done on that. Because especially there are some people who use a pen and paper for NaNoWriMo. I'm not sure how their hand survives 50,000 words handwritten. But I would say the majority of the people participating in the event use a computer and use the internet for inspiration and use images or ideas from the internet to help get them started and to help give them little pieces of inspiration to write. So I think that that would be another interesting area of research that I just don't think was very touched on. That being said, I think the web, and even within schools, there's kind of this idea of peer pressure. However, what was found is that when you bring NaNoWriMo to a classroom, or you send your students out online to talk about their novel progress, there's something called positive peer pressure. And what that is, oh, my classmate has written so many words, I want to catch up, I want to get there. Or, we're all writing together, we all want to reach, whatever we're limited is, whether it's 50,000 or 25,000, we want to reach it. And it's kind of spurring each other on to write more and do more together. Once again, a very collaborative effort. I think that teamwork and participation in a classroom are huge. I'm not studying education, so I can't speak to that too much, but I think that it offers a very interesting line of research for people who are studying education. NaNoWriMo is a very special event. It happens technically once a year, and I think that classrooms really can benefit from it. And I'll talk more about the benefit specifically seen within the university level that NaNoWriMo has on writing, but I think that it's also, and I'll mention it when I talk about it, I think that it's also very applicable to K through 12 classrooms as well. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back to talk about NaNoWriMo in libraries, including academic libraries / the university.